Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are talking about one of the most incredible rivers on the entire planet, the Ganga. But here's the thing. We're going to challenge what many of us think we know about it and uncover the amazing story of how this river is actually built, piece by powerful piece.
So if I were to ask you, where does the Ganga begin? You'd probably say Gangotri or maybe the Gomukh Glacier, right? And hey, for a trivia night, that answer might fly. But the real geographical truth, it is so much cooler. The Ganga doesn't just pop out of the ground in one spot.
You see, the river's origin isn't just a single point you can put a pin in on a map. No, it's a process. It's this epic journey of creation where all these powerful streams come together in a very specific order. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to follow that journey step by step.
All right, let's get into it. Our whole story kicks off way up in the Garhwal region of the Himalayas, in the state of Uttarakhand. This isn't just a land of mountains. It's a land of massive, towering mountains of ice. And these are the true, ultimate sources of the river.
These glaciers, or Himani as they're known, are the real starting line. So forget the idea of a little spring. Instead, I want you to picture these colossal rivers of solid ice slowly, constantly melting and feeding the streams that are going to grow into the Ganga. But you might be wondering, why do these giant glaciers even form here in the first place?
Well, it really just comes down to some basic physics. You know how it gets colder when you climb a mountain? Well, amplify that. For every 165 meters you go up, the temperature drops a whole degree Celsius. Up there, you're too high to feel the warmth radiating from the ground. The only real heat source is the direct sun. This intense, biting cold literally freezes moisture right out of the air. And over centuries, that frozen moisture piles up into the massive glaciers that feed everything.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of our journey, the Panch Prayag. Now, Prayag just means confluence, or a meeting point of rivers. We're going to follow the 5 sacred confluences that literally build the Ganga. And the river that's going to be our guide, the one we'll watch grow, is the Alaknanda. But before we start, we need to know one simple rule. It's kind of like a rule of the road for rivers. In hydrology, when 2 rivers meet, how do you decide which name gets to continue on? It's easy. Whichever river is deeper gets to keep its name. The shallower one basically merges in, and its name stops right there. So keep that rule in your back pocket. Okay, here we go. Our journey starts at Vishnu Prayag. 2 streams, the Vishnu Ganga and the Dhauli Ganga, both born from glaciers up near Bhagirathi, come together. And what's so cool is that when they meet, their depths are pretty much equal. So according to our rule, neither name can continue. Instead, they create something totally new, the Alaknanda River. This is the river we're going to follow. So the brand new Alaknanda flows on to the next meeting point, Nanda Prayag. Here it meets the Nandakini River. Now we apply our rule. The Alaknanda is deeper, it's the more powerful of the two, so the Nandakini merges into it, and the river moves on, still called the Alaknanda. One tributary collected. The journey rolls on to Karna Prayag. This time, it's the Pindar River that flows in to join the party. And once again, you guessed it, the Alaknanda is the deeper river. It just absorbs the Pindar and keeps heading south, getting bigger and stronger with every single stop. At our 4th stop, Rudra Prayag, the Alaknanda has a really important meeting with the Mandakini River. This one's a big deal, because the Mandakini comes from the glaciers near another incredibly sacred site, Kedarnath. But even this holy river, as important as it is still shallower than the mighty Alaknanda, which just pushes forward, its identity totally intact. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Vishnu Prayag, Nanda Prayag, Karna Prayag. Trying to remember all 5 names in order is tough, but check this out. There is a brilliant little trick to remember them. Just think of the story of Lord Vishnu's avatar, Krishna. First, he is Vishnu. As a little kid, he was called Nand Lala. He was famous for wearing earrings, or Karn Fool. He also wore a Rudraksha necklace, and finally, after all this, he achieved a divine, or Dev, form. Vishnu, Nand, Karn, Rudra, Dev. How cool is that? And that last step in our memory trick, Dev Prayag, brings us to the grand finale of our river journey. After collecting the waters of 4 huge tributaries, our hero river, the Alaknanda, arrives at the 5th and final Prayag, Dev Prayag. This is the moment everything has been building towards. Here at Dev Prayag, the Alaknanda meets its final partner, the Bhagirathi River. Now, the Bhagirathi is the river that flows from Gomukh near Gangotri. Culturally and traditionally, this is the river that so many people consider to be the main source of the Ganga. And it is a seriously powerful river all on its own.
So at Dev Prayag, you have this incredible showdown. These two titans finally converge. On one side, you've got the immense collected power of the Alaknanda. On the other, the incredibly significant Bhagirathi. And just like at our very first confluence, their depths are almost identical. So what happens when two rivers of equal depth meet? A totally new river is born. And this brings us to the big payoff, the whole point of our journey. It is only here, at this exact spot, at Dev Prayag, after this incredible journey of assembly, that the river finally gets the name we all know, the Ganga. Now, speaking of the Bhagirathi, its immense power is harnessed by one of India's most famous dams, the Tehri Dam. And this often leads to a bit of a quiz night stumper when people compare it to another famous dam, the Bakra Nangal. So let's just clear that up really quickly. So here's the deal. The Tehri Dam is without a doubt taller overall. It's about 260 meters high, but it's what's called an earth and rock-filled dam. The Bakra Nangal, on the other hand, is a concrete gravity dam. So the answer to which is tallest depends on what you're asking. The tallest gravity dam is Bakra Nangal, but the tallest dam in India, period, is Tehri. It's all about getting specific with the category. And here's a neat little engineering fact for you. Because of the absolutely insane amount of pressure on the Tehri Dam, it actually has a smaller support dam built downstream called the Kuteshwar Dam. Its whole job is to help manage that massive load. Okay, for our last little segment, let's talk about something truly legendary about the Ganga, its famous self-purifying quality. For literally centuries, people have known that its water doesn't go bad easily, and it turns out there's a really fascinating scientific reason for that. The river's secret weapon is a tiny little thing called a bacteriophage. Now, I know it's a virus, but don't worry, this is one of the good guys. Its name literally means bacteria eater. And that is exactly what it does. It hunts down and destroys harmful bacteria in the water. It's like a natural, microscopic cleanup crew. And that is why, historically, the Ganga's water has been able to stay fresh for so long. So if you take just one thing away from our whole journey today, I want it to be this. The Ganga doesn't just start somewhere. It doesn't just emerge from a cave. It isn't born. It is made. It is carefully constructed piece by piece through this powerful, incredible geological process. So let's do a super quick recap. The Ganga officially begins its life at Dev Prayag. It's the grand result of the Panch Prayag system, where the Alaknanda River gathers up 4 other rivers before it finally meets its equal partner, the Bhagirathi. It just goes to show the Ganga isn't one single stream. It's a vast, beautiful, interconnected system. And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. When you understand the incredible, complex journey of how this river is so carefully assembled by nature, it gives you a whole new level of appreciation for it, doesn't it? It kind of makes you wonder, now that we know how this sacred river is made, what is our part to play in making sure our actions don't cause it to become unmade?